Almost got me twice. Hello, and welcome into the Sad Fan, where we talk about the good, the bad, and everything that made you sad. And Wes has so much to be sad about, but everything that he has to be sad about pertains to the Super Bowl, and we've got an action-packed show when it comes to that. I guess I was like Ricky Bobby just now. I didn't know what to do with my hands. They were just going everywhere, I guess. Yeah, exactly. But we have so much to talk about when it comes to Super Bowl that I'm just going to get right into what made me sad. I think, Wes, and we're going to circle back to this.
Do we have a lot to talk about for the Super Bowl?
I think so. I think we do. I think
it's not a big deal, right? It's just a game.
I mean, you've now been through a couple traumatic events during your Super Bowl career and lived to see them that you genuinely had a vested interest in. This one, and then the Seahawks game on the goal line.
I don't really have a vested interest in this one. Last year I did. Last year because I freaking hate the Rams and I hate the 49ers, so...
Yeah, but you don't have a team like the Chiefs in your division that are going to be great for, another 10 to 15 years. I do. I've got to deal with... and I just accept it at this point. I'm just like, what am I going to do about it? I can't help that this guy can sidearm a football 20 yards down the field or play on a broken ankle. He's great. Andy Reid's great. But before we get into that, let's talk about my division and what made me sad this week, because I know what made you sad. And we're going to really dig into that and see some emotional Wes. His face is already turning red, which is weird. It's like you're holding back the anger. It's all that on the back of Harrison Ford being announced as Red Hulk. You're ready to go Red Hulk right on the camera.
First I'm hearing of that, but all right, we'll talk about that afterwards.
It's rumored. Apparently, it's rumored. And I was kind of like, I don't know. He's like 90 years old. Like, this is kind of weird. Are we still giving 90-year-olds like these roles? Because I think this role's supposed to last like 20 movies. I'm not trying to kill anyone or predict death. He's a bit long in the tooth, is what we'll say. He's a bit long in the tooth. What made me sad is it appears that the Raiders are going to enter a full rebuild, and they never made it to after a rebuild, which is wild to me. Like, they had multiple opportunities to enter after a rebuild when they drafted Khalil Mack, and they had Derek Carr when he was playing really well when he was young before he broke his leg. They were cornerbacks away. And the old story is that Reggie McKenzie had a meeting with Mark Davis, and Mark Davis took a sheet of paper and ripped the corners off the sheet of paper and said, "Give me this." And it's weird to go from somebody being that savvy and knowing exactly what we need, which was cornerbacks, to having no idea where the team is going, right? No defense for 30-plus years now. And I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Because a lot of people like to say, the Raiders had a great defense during Rich Gannon, but I don't know that's entirely true. I think that was their first top 10 defense in a long time, but what really ran well was the offense.
It's really hard to do a full rebuild when you're like a team on the playoff bubble.
Yeah.
And you've been there, you keep there, you're like, oh, we're only a few pieces away. But then it's like you lose a piece here, you lose a piece there, you gain another piece. And it's like you don't want to just throw it all away and completely rebuild and to try and get high draft picks. So it's like you keep taking one step forward and one step back, and you just keep staying a middling team for a long time.
Yeah, and they appear to be in what is going to be one of the toughest divisions in the NFL for a very long time, with great quarterback play outside of Russell Wilson. I'm so happy he's terrible.
Let's see what Sean Payton does. I don't think he'll bring him back to peak Russ, but I think he'll be a little bit better than he was last year or this year.
Well, like I said, I'm not going to be shocked if he flips him for Aaron Rodgers. I wouldn't. I mean, both teams, I think, would be satisfied with that trade. I think the money is covered in that trade. They get guarantee out of Russell Wilson for the next 5 years. Because I think he's
what is Green Bay going to do with Russell?
I don't know. I think they just want to get rid of Aaron, though. I think that's their main thing. I think they're done with Aaron. I think Aaron fits into what Denver does well when they win Super Bowls. So, I mean, we'll see. We will see. But what made me sad is it was the release of Derek Carr, and it was the end of an era. And I had some great names for you, and these were all the names after Rich Gannon broke his neck and could not continue as the Raiders quarterback. Here are all the names that took over as quarterback, to include Rich Gannon, in all the years leading up to when we drafted Derek Carr. So, like I said before, Rich Gannon did try to come back from that broken neck, just was never the same.
What year was that?
When Rich Gannon broke his neck?
Yeah.
2003.
Okay, so we're looking at like 7 years here, or 17, 16
I want to
years?
say he was drafted in Derek Carr was drafted 2014. So,
okay.
Here goes. Rick Meyer. You should know that as a Seahawks fan. Drafted 3rd overall to the Seahawks out of Notre Dame. All right. Marcus Tuiasosopo. Andrew Walter out of Arizona State. Kerry Collins. Oh, Marcus Tuiasosopo. That's one you know, too. He played for Washington.
Yep.
Aaron Brooks. Josh McCown. Dante Culpepper. Jamarcus Russell. Russell. Bruce Gradkowski. Charlie Fry. Jason Campbell. Carson Palmer. Kyle Bowler. Terrell Pryor. Matt McGloin. And Matt Flynn. They don't have a plan right now.
I haven't even heard of like 4 of those names.
Sadly, I have. And I was sad for all of them. And I think I'm going to hear of another one that we're going to sign. And I'm going to be sad again. Right? Like, I just know it's because it sounds like it's Jimmy Garoppolo. And I'm just like, come on, man. What more evidence do you need that a quarterback... You're literally re-signing Derek Carr, but more injury-prone, in a different skin suit and less accuracy. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Or the rumor that's been floated is they're going to trade for Mac Jones. Oh, great. Another guy that's freaking terrible. That's a good goal. Someone that's considered the dirtiest quarterback ever to play. Okay.
I feel like Jimmy Garoppolo is slightly better than Derek Carr.
Not by advanced metrics at all. He's
better than Trey Lance.
He played for a great coach. I have no evidence that Josh McDaniels is a great coach. None. Zero. Zilch. Like, there is no evidence that he's a great coach. None. Show me what it is. You can point to Super Bowls, and I'll point to Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Yes.
I don't think anyone is arguing that.
Like, I'm sorry. It's easy to win when you have a quarterback that's probably the greatest winner to ever play the game. Or is the greatest winner to ever play the game. We'll get to that later. Okay? But right now, there's no discernible plan that I can see. It appears to be another 20 years of mediocrity or terrible team play. Our only hope is that the Broncos are going to be worse. But outside of that, I mean, Justin Herbert appears to be a great quarterback. He just needs a coach. I don't think Brandon Staley is a good coach based on what I've seen. He appears to be terrible, just like Josh McDaniels, but there's nothing we could do there. Now, let's get into what made you sad, Wes, because if I get into this, I'm just going to be more and more upset as far as the Raiders' plan for the future is concerned. So talk to me about what made you sad this week.
The ending of the Super Bowl.
The totally justified and legitimate ending of the
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You're wrong. And everyone, 99% of the people disagree. Okay?
I think
don't give me that crap.
That's a fake number.
What were you saying? What were you saying earlier? What did he say after the game?
Bradbury admitted it.
Yeah. Okay, he's being a good sport. Okay? He's not. He doesn't want to be a sore loser. But they didn't let it. They let that thing go. They let that kind of stuff
you when it happened.
All game. They let that
I
kind of
told you.
They didn't call.
I said that was a holding.
They didn't call any ticky-tack stuff at all game.
He held him 3 times.
No, he didn't.
3 times. At the line, at the arm, and the jersey.
Look at it at full speed. You can see his jersey stretch out for maybe like 0.2 of a second.
And what about hooking the arm? And what about hooking the arm?
He had his arm on his back.
He hooked his arm.
No, he had his arm on his back.
He held it 3 different times.
Within 5 yards. Okay, no, this is garbage. Okay, because there was like 30 other plays that probably had more defensive holding in that game.
You could say that about every game.
No, they decided to call it on the deciding play.
If he didn't hold him, it was a touchdown. So,
No.
yes.
No, not even close.
Yes.
Ball was 15 yards over his freaking head.
Because he was held.
No, he didn't.
Because he was held.
He did not impede him. Look at it in slow, or look at it in full speed. Okay.
Yes, he did.
The only reason why he slowed down is because he cut in and then he cut back out. There was no impeding. His motion was not slowed down. And then the referees decided to pull a freaking flag out of their asses, and they're like, "Oh, game over. We're giving it to the Chiefs." That's bullshit. And that's
you're talking about
and the fucking Super Bowl.
You're talking about guys that run 40 yards in 4 seconds.
Ruined the freaking game.
You were going to tell me I ruined the game?
No, the referees ruined the game.
So he's clearly held. Clearly. 3 times. So much so that we busted.
And they decide to call
Yeah.
when they haven't been. They've been letting them play all game, and then they're like, "Oh, it's the last play of the game."
It was the correct call.
No,
The correct call. 100%.
No,
he would have been.
It's not the correct call. You
now,
don't do that in the biggest game of the season. And
the only thing.
No, you don't just say, "Here you go, Kansas City. Here's the win," because we're gonna fucking do whatever we want. No.
The only thing they took away is us getting to see Jalen Hurts on a potential game-tying drive. Because
they ruined the game, they ruined the season. End of discussion.
Because Juju Smith-Schuster would have scored a touchdown on that play. All right? It was...
No, he wouldn't have. That ball
yes,
was
he
way
would have.
overthrown. Look at it again. Everyone will agree. He was not catching that ball.
The ball lands in the end zone.
If he just said, "Here you go for it," he's not catching it. Even
he's 100% catching the ball.
No,
it's a timing route.
He was not catching that ball no matter what. You're fucking blind.
It's a timing route.
You're blind.
That route was
blind.
run in practice 10,000 times. So the timing on that
he grabbed the jersey
is a
once,
science.
and the rest of it was hand fighting. Within
3
5
times.
yards. You can hand fight within 5 yards. He jammed him at the fucking line. That's
He
not
grabbed
holding.
He grabbed the
Get out of
jersey.
here.
3
No, you're an idiot. You're blind.
He hooked the arm.
No.
He grabbed the
He
jersey.
hooked the arm. No.
Yes.
No, it was hand fighting. He got a piece of the jersey for 0.2 of a second, and then he put his hand on his back, and they're like, "Oh, here you go, Kansas City, have the win," even though that ball is uncatchable. They were gonna score a touchdown there. Okay, so you're saying that 0.2 of a second hold slowed him down by like a whole 10 yards? I think all 3 holds. I think all 3 holds did because what it was. What 3 holds? Look at it again. Because it was a slanted go, so he was slanting in, and then it was gonna go. He was gonna go upfield and catch the ball. And it was, respect I have for you.
it was gonna be Plexico Burress. It was gonna be Plexico Burress against the Patriots. He was gonna be all alone in the end zone and catch a touchdown.
That ball was not catchable.
So,
look at it again.
And what's funny to me is I'm a Raiders fan, as you know. It was 100% catchable.
No.
I think you underestimate how good these athletes are. I think you do. I think you underestimate how great they are and how precise.
Apparently you think grabbing the jersey for 0.2 of a second
No, I think
slow him down by 10
3
yards.
different holds. A hook, a hole, a hole, impeding the route. Yes, I think all 3 of those things led to him not making it look like the ball was overthrown. I think it's a precise science. I think they ran that play thousands of times in practice. I think Patrick Mahomes knew exactly where to put it. It falls into the end zone. Okay, the ball falls into the end zone.
No, because Patrick was getting pressured, so he threw it. He threw
right
it.
where?
And he threw it way too long. He threw it deep.
He threw it.
Didn't need to. That was a shit throw.
He threw it right where Juju. He threw it right where Juju Smith was supposed to be if he wasn't being held.
You're an idiot. You're an idiot.
I'm sorry, he was old.
We're done.
I don't want the Chiefs to win. You're acting like I wanted the Chiefs to win. I mean, I called that they would win. If you rewatch last week's tape, I said it in that exact way. That was how they were going to win. And I think you're just upset that we're not getting Jalen Hurts failing to do a comeback drive in the final play of the game like we got last year. They can't all end that way. Sometimes
that was a legit hold. Fine. That was the babiest fucking hold I've ever seen called. I've never seen a defensive holding call for something that small.
Bradbury admitted it.
I've been watching the NFL for a long ass time. Yeah,
then you've definitely seen it.
Being a good sport.
Then you.
What do you expect him to do? You expect him to throw a tantrum? No, because he's a grown ass man, and the tantrums are for us, the pundits and the fans.
I'm telling you that he would have thrown a temper tantrum if he really didn't do it. He knew he did it. It's on camera. 3 different times. 3 different times. Like, what more?
3 different times? Show me.
I did.
No.
I did.
No,
and
I did it again. I did 3 different times.
And you told me 99% would agree with you, except for I sent you 4
Apparently you're calling a hand on the back a hold, and you're calling a little bit of hand fighting at the line a hold.
He hooked him.
Go back to fucking school. Get some LASIK or something. You're blind. You're blinder than the referees.
You can't hook the wide receiver. If that was DK Metcalf, you would be throwing a parade for the referee right now. A parade. You would be marching up and down Seattle at Pike Market, screaming at the top of your lungs, "We did it! We won the Super Bowl!" If it was the Seahawks, you know you would. So I don't know what you're doing right now.
I can't hear you. I turned you off. You're annoying.
All right, so let's talk about some other things outside of the Chiefs winning. In what was definitely a boring, anticlimactic way to win the Super Bowl, but they definitely won. Okay? And I don't think anyone doubted them. However, Travis Kelce would disagree, Wes.
Travis Kelce is a moron.
What is this new trend in teams like, they always doubted us, we knew we were great, we were going to do it the whole time despite, and I was just like, who doubted one of the best teams in the NFL over the last half decade? I don't recall that happening.
Nobody.
You think he was referring to the Fox broadcast? Because I think everybody on Fox picked the Eagles to win. Do you think that's what he meant?
Yeah, but they all picked them by like 1 score.
Yeah. Which isn't doubt, right?
No.
And you said Vegas had it at 50-50 odds?
Right? Basically. I think the Chiefs were favorites at one point, and then it went back to the Eagles, and the Eagles were favored by like a point.
Yeah. I think I did okay betting that game because I bet the Chiefs would win at halftime. And that was pretty nice. Like, that was a good win for me. When they were down.
How much did you put down?
Just $10.
Oh.
Just $10.
But put down your life savings, idiot.
Well, I mean, like, the cover would have been there. So it was ended up being a 3-point game. Like I said, I thought it was going to be. Remember, I said they were going to win either by a late touchdown or a late field goal. It turned out to be a late field goal.
There was a late flag that they won by.
So Travis Kelce comes out, screams, "Everyone doubted us." But I don't want to skip right past that Hail Mary that Jalen Hurts threw. What was that? What kind of throw was that at the end of the game? That was like one of the worst Hail Marys I ever. It was like, and then it just hits the ground, and I was like, wait. Okay, like, obviously it was never going to go for a touchdown. Like, we're aware of this. But you could throw it over 40 yards, right? Like, Jalen Hurts can throw it over 40 yards. We saw it in that game. I was so confused at what happened to that ball. Also, I think A.J. Brown is a solid stud, right? Solidified top receiver in the NFL after that game. Are you really burnt out after that rant? Are you out of breath? You run marathons. Like, you appear to have lost. You appear to done. Yeah, you're trained. It's been a long season. We've been doing our best to break into this market, and that was a hell of a way to end your long season. Worst
ending to a football season in history.
I don't know that that's true. I mean, I don't know that that's true at all. I think
on a personal level, Super Bowl 49 was worse, but in terms of just like from a neutral perspective. Like, because if you're in a neutral perspective and you're watching Super Bowl 49, you're like, oh shit, what a play. Patriots are going to win. Crazy play at the last minute. But that's just like, cool, game over. Okay, everyone go home.
We've seen blowouts in our history watching this game, though. Blowouts in the Super Bowl. Like, I don't know that that's the worst thing ever. I've seen other games decided by penalties. Right?
I'd rather watch a blowout than the way that ended.
I've seen Tom Brady win 2 Super Bowls due to penalties. Like, what? I mean, like, what do you want? Like, 2 out of his 7. It's going to happen, man. It's going to happen. Like yes, exactly like that. Penalties that move people into field goal ranges. Into field goal range. It's going to happen. Other big controversy was what was up with the grass on that.
It's funny because apparently they've been the NFL has been cultivating that grass for the last 2 years. It was like some sod farm out in Scottsdale that's been growing it for 2 years in preparation for this one game. And I don't know, like, so the stadium, they put the grass on like this giant tray, and they wheel it out into the sun so it gets sunlight, because for whatever reason they decided to put a stadium in Arizona, in Phoenix, under a dome.
Raiders is exactly the same, by the way.
Too hot. I don't know.
Raiders Stadium is exactly the same. Allergen, it's the same. They send the grass out for sun and bring it back in.
Yeah, I saw that because they were comparing the two. But yeah, and I don't know. Maybe they just installed it too late and it didn't have time to like really take root in its new environment. But
it sucked. I think they showed Jalen Hurts cleats. He had to go from like a quarter inch to a half inch spike.
Yeah,
because he couldn't get any grip. I will say also he looked great outside of that last throw. I mean, he did. He looked great. I won't doubt.
Do you think it played a part in that scoop and score?
I think so. I think also he's young. I think Jalen Hurts is young. I thought that I said that was my biggest fear about the Eagles all year long was I felt like Jalen Hurts could be a liability, and that changed the game. That changed the game because that happened 5 minutes before halftime. And even though the Eagles scored again, and it almost happened again. And then it almost happened again, same player. And I'm kind of like, geez. Like, mentally, people don't understand. Remember what I was saying about that penalty, how it's precise science? Well, players get in their own heads all the time. And on that second one, even though they knew it wasn't a touchdown and it got called back, I think you start getting in your own head, like, are they really going to keep scoring on is their defense going to beat us when we're playing against Patrick Mahomes? You know, is it going to be the defense that did it? And I think the offense starts doubting itself. And they could not do anything in the second half. Like, the Eagles' offense couldn't do anything. You don't want it to come down to a penalty. Keep scoring. You know that's my stance. You know that. You've known me for years. Blow a team out. It's too easy for teams to come back. Just keep putting up points. I don't give a damn about fairness. I don't give a damn about sportsmanship. Score, 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 score. Because if you don't score, you got Patrick Mahomes that's going to score on every single drive of the second half, and you're going to lose, and you're going to bitch about the refs, but you didn't do shit. You couldn't stop him. You couldn't score. What do you think happens in that scenario? You lose to probably what will go down as the second best quarterback ever. All right? That's just how it works. You just keep scoring. I don't want to hear clock management by Nick Sirianni. I don't want to hear we felt like we had a great chance with our defense. I want to hear we buried their ass. That's all you do now. It's too close of a game. These athletes are too good. It's not like Ken Stabler days where they're smoking in the locker room. They're machines.
That's what the Seahawks did in 48. Buried that ass. 48.
You just score. You score and score and score. And then when the other coach goes, I'm mad about it, I don't think that was great sportsmanship, you give him double birds. And you go, how's this for sportsmanship? And you score again. All right? You don't put yourself in a situation to blame the referees. They were up 24-14, 10 points. All right? They stopped the Chiefs, going into halftime. They just needed to keep scoring, or here's a novel idea: stop the Chiefs once in the second half, one time, and you win. All right, it was over. They screwed the pooch. That's the way it went down. Sorry, we can blame the ref. 2 quarters they decided they weren't going to play football for 2 whole quarters.
I'm not blaming the refs on the Eagles losing. I'm blaming the refs for ruining the game. There's a big difference.
They ruined your fun. That's what you're blaming. I was having so much fun.
The Eagles, they absolutely should have played better in the second half, and they absolutely shit themselves in the second half.
Yeah.
Like, the refs had no part in that. The refs had a part in ruining the game.
I mean, they were going to go – the only reason people are saying they ruined the game, everybody keeps forgetting, the Chiefs were going to score. The only thing they ruined is the Eagles trying to come back to tie or win, depending on whether or not the Chiefs kicked the field goal or scored a touchdown.
That was a good chance.
Yeah,
I would have rather seen the Eagles.
You could have fooled me in the second half. I would have
rather seen the Eagles just go 4-0.
Also, what was funny is the whole
One more thing, though.
Yeah.
If LeBron can say the F word on TV after breaking the all-time record for points, who cares if we say the F word on here?
So it's just funny, like how ironic it is for you to refer to it as the F word as you explain why we can say the F word. But speaking of LeBron James, I also found it hilarious where he's like, "Can't decide a game on a call, bro." After literally less than a week ago, losing his damn mind for not getting a penalty called in the last second of a game against the Celtics, where he rolled around and writhed like a little bit baby because he got his arm hit.
NBA does that, whether you like it or not.
No, not like that. Wes, not like Wes. No, Wes, he didn't flop. You're not listening. He went up for a layup. He definitely got contact. All right? Same just like this Eagles call. There was definitely contact, okay? And then he hit. He's looking at the ref. He's throwing his arms like this, like, blah, 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 and then he throws himself like a toddler, a 6'9" toddler, onto the ground and starts hitting the basketball court. And I'm like, okay, all right. After those theatrics, to say you can't end a game on a penalty call, have some awareness, bro. Have some awareness. That's all I'm saying. Have some self-awareness. You just were bitching about not ending the game on a call not even a week ago. But
it's different when you're watching versus a fan versus when you actually like playing the game. Like whether you think what he did was childish or whatnot, he's the one playing, and so like that's his like job is to win games. Whereas at the Super Bowl, he's just watching as a fan.
All right. So what's funny to me is a while back, and I had thought this was what they were going to do because they're famous for this. Eminem released an announcement that they're getting rid of the M&Ms due to backlash, all right? The Eminem, like, actors in the commercials, like the fake M&Ms that talk and stuff.
For a second, I thought you were talking about the rapper.
No. And the anti-woke crowd was like, oh, now they're taking away our mascots. Nothing safe. Everyone gets a trophy. This is crazy. I can't even watch my M&Ms. That's my favorite commercial, right? They went nuts. They went crazy. They were like, everything's got to be censored now. And then here's the thing. I was like, I think this is like an Eminem and Mars thing because Eminem always does a big Super Bowl commercial, and I'm pretty certain they're going to do a big Super Bowl commercial, and the M&Ms are going to come back for the Super Bowl. And guess what? There was a Super Bowl commercial with the red M&M in the background, and did you remember that Super Bowl with Maya Rudolph with like the fish, like oyster M&Ms that like taste like oysters? Mm-mm. You don't remember that commercial?
No.
So they ran that commercial. It's like oyster M&Ms, and they're like disgusting and gross and everything. And in the very background, if the anti-woke crowd paid attention, you see the red M&M, and he's holding up a sign that says "Help me" in the background. And I was like, "There we go. That is such a great troll job by Eminem because people lose their minds over dumb shit. Now they just look,
see that.
Yeah, they just look for something to be outraged about. So when you get the chance after the show, watch Eminem Super Bowl spot. And you'll see what I'm talking about because it's the little red M&M in the background holding up a sign that says "Help me." And I was just like, "What a troll job by Eminem!" Like they totally got the anti-woke crowd up in arms, going crazy, and now we can't even have M&Ms that are over-sexualized. And then, sure enough, like he's holding up a sign in the back. I was like, I knew they were going to do it. But I will say that wasn't my favorite commercial. That was my favorite troll job. My very favorite commercial of the Super Bowl was the very first commercial of the Super Bowl. I thought the Dunkin' Donuts spot with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez was hilarious. Like, I found that entire commercial funny. Like, I thought it was well-directed, well-written.
I don't remember that much of the commercials because I was busy eating wings and drinking.
Oh, like the Saturday Night Live spot about the wings. And then you can order a bucket. You can order a bathtub. So you were just slathering your mouth in ranch and wings. So that was me on the Super Bowls. I don't know. Do you have anything to add except for getting into how the Eagles lost all their coordinators? What were your thoughts on the halftime show?
I think it was okay. I was expecting like some sort of guest appearance, somebody else to come along. It didn't have, like, it had one cool spot where she went up, but it didn't like have any viral moments, and like I felt like she just kind of like rushed through her like a few of her biggest hits, and that was kind of it.
Yeah, I mean, you got me with the scaffolding at the end. I thought her catalog is banging. Sorry, banger after banger after banger after banger after banger. I did see a really funny meme from NFL memes where where they were like, here's a replay of the Super Bowl halftime show in case you missed it, and they had a red gummy bear surrounded by white marshmallows, and then they put it on a scaffolding and they just raised the red gummy bear into the air with all the white marshmallows, and I was like, okay, that's funny. It was simple. I thought it was kind of a boss move to reveal she was pregnant with her second child at the Super Bowl. I thought that was funny. I did think all the comments on Twitter were hilarious, where people were like, is Rihanna? I'm not even going to say it.
Yeah, everyone was wondering if Rihanna's pregnant, but I was just like, why do people care? I don't care if she's pregnant or not.
I think it's the old thing. You never ask a woman if she's pregnant. And I think that's what Twitter was doing. Like, I don't want to be the first one to ask. I'm just going to wait for it to be announced, and it was fine. It was funny, but think about it like that's a boss move to be like, yo, talk all your smack. And then she advertised her makeup line in the middle. She did product placement.
Oh,
yeah. In the middle of the show, which is going to pay for it itself as far as not getting paid to do the Super Bowl performance because, the artists don't get paid.
Yeah.
So I was like, that pays for itself. That was perfect. It was, at the end of the day, it was good, not great. I think it had all the potential to be super amazing, but it was still a really good halftime show. It wasn't bad at all, right? Like, I'm sorry, like, if you don't like that style of music, I get it, but like, in the grand scheme of things, that she, like I said, banger after banger after banger. Her catalog is ridiculous of music, so I liked it. Not my favorite halftime show of all time. I'm not going to be like a lot of hyperbolic people that are like, it's the greatest thing. It wasn't, if we're all being honest with ourselves. But it was a good show. It was fine. It was like, what do you want her to do? She gets like 15 minutes, go out there, perform, and then you're done.
It was very meh.
You liked it. You just didn't love it.
Yeah, it was meh. Like,
yeah.
I've seen worse, and I've seen better.
Yeah, I
always go amazing.
Black Eyed Peas were not great in Atlanta, so and their stage didn't work, so that was interesting. Now, to end it, I wanted to have a GOAT conversation with you. Is it possible that we're living in the age where you and I have gotten to see just every GOAT, and there's never going to be anyone better?
Tom Brady, LeBron James,
Michael Jordan. We saw Michael Jordan play.
Yeah, but that's LeBron James, NBA.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though, but that's still a debate, despite what people think. Like, people will always debate, and we saw both of them, right? As good as Wilt Chamberlain.
NBA and NFL, I think, yeah. And they're all about to retire soon, which is kind of sad.
As good
Tom Brady did retire, but...
Yeah, as good as Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell were, no one ever says they were the GOAT. Like, no one ever says that. So LeBron James and Michael Jordan is it. We both got to see them play in our lifetime. Tom Brady is the GOAT, and I hate it. I hate every ounce of that, but he is. Like, you can't deny it. 7 Super Bowls? Like, it's it. It's over. Like, it's the hardest championship to win outside of the World Cup, and he's done it 7 times. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's kiboshed. No one's even close. No one's close. But you also have Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo in football, European football or soccer. We watch Mike Tyson box, but I think Muhammad Ali might be the GOAT there, right?
I mean, there's debate for Floyd.
No, there's not. Sorry, he's just
I don't like him myself either, but
he just didn't lose
his record.
He's 115 pounds. Like, it's two different things.
He would get his ass kicked by fucking Ali or Tyson because they're like twice his size, but like pound for pound.
All Mayweather ever did was
to make an argument against him.
No, it's not. All he did was box people before they were ready or after their prime. He never fought a good boxer in their prime, not even one. Okay? Muhammad Ali fought George Foreman, Joe Frazier, Smoking Joe. Like, it's not even close. I'm sorry. Like, that's not even close. He's fought Smoking Joe 3 times.
What about baseball?
He fought Sonny Liston when Sonny Liston was thought to be unbeatable. Baseball, Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey Jr., Derek Jeter, Roger Clemens, right?
I mean, you're
Randy
just naming
Johnson.
out like all-stars, or like you're naming out Hall of Famers, but like we're talking GOAT.
The GOAT, Barry Bonds is the best baseball player to ever play. Sorry. It's not close. He's just not in the Hall of Fame because he took steroids. But before he took steroids, he was great.
Yeah.
Right? He's better than Mantle. He's better than...
how long has he been... How long has he been retired now?
A long time.
Yeah.
A long time, yeah. He's better than Hank Aaron. He's better than Babe Ruth. Right? I'm sorry. He's the best baseball player to ever play. He's the GOAT. Like, say what you want. And he's got championships.
We're not getting hockey. Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky was
that
before
is
my
true.
time.
That is true. Ovechkin gave it a run for the money.
Ovechkin was good.
He gave it a run for the money. Crosby gave it a run for his money. But you're right. The great one.
Yeah.
But we did watch him play. We watched him play on the Los Angeles Kings. We got him at the tail end of his career, unfortunately. We never got to watch him when he was dominating.
I probably watched like one game of his.
Just one. Yeah, I mean, I watched a few because my dad was really into hockey. I remember playing NHL 1994 with him, right, on the Sega Genesis with the Los Angeles Kings and Sandstrom and Wayne Gretzky on that little lineup. I used to love playing. It was funny because my father would always be like, use Wayne Gretzky. He's the best player in the game. And I would always use Sandstrom or Lindstrom because they're so fast. I've always been a speed guy. I'm like, I'm sorry, like you can't stop speed. There's nothing you can do about speed on these old video games like Tecmo Bowl with Bo Jackson. But like, I think so. Like, what other sports are we missing? Like maybe Pele in football or soccer, but I think that debate's been laid to rest with Lionel Messi winning the World Cup, right? So I think there we've seen the GOATs. Like you said, NFL football, we've seen the GOAT. Basketball, we've seen the GOAT. I'm going to put up a strong argument that we've seen the GOAT in baseball.
What about pitcher?
I think Roger Clemens or Randy Johnson. We've had a lot of
that's the thing, though. There's like, we haven't seen anybody in baseball where it's like, that's it. That's the one.
The best pitcher ever?
Yeah, like, that's it.
Or the GOAT. Or the GOAT.
I think
it's Barry
pitcher.
Bonds.
Go pitcher.
Oh, GOAT pitcher. Okay, yeah, GOAT pitcher's fair. But I think most people would say
and I think there is like something to be said. Like you can say Barry Bonds is the greatest because of like his run and all those home runs he smashed. But
all
the
records he holds.
Yeah, but at the same time, like all of those have an asterisk now because like even though I don't care about doing roids, that now they crack down on it. So there's obviously a drop.
Yeah.
So it's hard to compare the players now to the steroid era.
I mean, I don't like any eras, to be honest. I don't like any era comparison because it's always been a different game, right? Because the greatest of all time back in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s in the NFL would have been a running back, probably. Because that's how the game was played. That's what made Jerry Rice such an anomaly and why it's so crazy that he still has all these records today is it wasn't a passing game, and somehow Jerry Rice was one of the most dominant football players we've ever seen, and the game wasn't even built around passing. And people want to compare receivers to Jerry Rice like Calvin Johnson, like Julio Jones, and they forget, like, pound for pound, Jerry Rice was tiny as shit, played in an era like pound for pound. I know he's a big man, but pound for pound, like, put him next to DK Metcalf, and you're going to be like, that guy was the best receiver of all time. Right? Like, and he played in an era where we didn't throw the ball ever. We never threw the ball, and he set all these records. It's just mind-blowing what he was able to accomplish. And perhaps it's because he was taking advantage of cornerbacks that weren't ready. So, anything I'm missing in this GOAT debate? Is there anything I'm missing? I don't think so. Mixed martial artist?
We saw Phelps.
Michael Phelps, mixed martial artist. We saw Anderson Silva. I think John Jones is, even though he's another one riddled with crime and probably not a great person, probably the best mixed martial artist we've ever seen. Like John Jones, probably. Like I don't know if we've ever seen a better mixed martial artist when he's got his head on straight and he's not in trouble with the law. He's one of the greatest. I think I've never seen.
I feel like you could have argued Anderson Silva, but I feel like Anderson just kept fighting past like when it was too late.
Yeah, I think Anderson Silva goes down as amazing to watch, but not the GOAT. If that makes sense.
I think Anderson in his prime is like the best pound for pound. But like overall, I'd say John Jones. Yeah.
Yeah, and
But,
I'd say go ahead.
Well, we'll see what happens when he goes up to heavyweight.
Yeah, I actually got to watch Hoist Gracie as well. And Hoist Gracie is considered by most one of the best ever. I showed you the fight with Hoist Gracie, and you were like, this is boring.
Well, Hoist Gracie was, again, one of those people that was like ahead of his time.
Yeah.
And it's like, he revolutionized the sport. Like, if you put him up against, like, John Jones now, he probably gets his ass kicked. But, like, in his time, like, yeah, he revolutionized the way that, like, combat fighting was done.
100%. Well, let's not be like Anderson Silva and fight on past our time today. Let's go ahead and end it here. It was fun. I know you're spun up, but the Super Bowl's over. Now we have the draft to look forward to. We've got the NBA Finals to look forward to, something the Portland Trail Blazers will be looking forward to their entire existence as a franchise. And we and we are reachable at Twitter at the Sad Fan Cast and at the Sad Fan 12. You can also reach us on YouTube at the Sad Fan Podcast Network, and the Sad Fan is all one word. Thank you so much for joining us. I promise you, Wes will be in much better spirits.
Chelsea will be back next week.
Yes, she will. She's enjoying her Valentine's night special.
Yes. We're not. We're losers.
We're losers. All right. Goodbye, everyone.